Hello, guys. It's Tim here again. Here another movie review. I just got done watching Renfield not too long ago, and so I figured why not do a review for it? There's really ain't that many reviews up for the movie, to be honest. And Renfield, it stars Nicolas Cage as Dracula and Nicholas Holt as Renfield. Overall, I would say I really enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect, there are some problems, but overall, I would say I really enjoyed it. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 4. I thought this was a really good, fun movie. It isn't perfect. There is this character played by the actress Aquafina, who's like a comedian, I believe. She was in Shang-Chi. I actually thought she was one of the better parts of Shang-Chi as the comedy relief, but she was like a side character in that, so she worked for me. Here, she's one of the main characters, and she's not bad in the film, and she's pretty much like kind of Nicholas Holt's like Renfield's love interest, kind of, but they never really go far enough with it, so it's just kind of like they just have like okay chemistry. It seems like a mistake, but she plays like this cop or whatever who's must be like incorruptible, like she will not bow to like any master or anything like that. And this whole movie's pretty much a metaphor for like abusive relationships, with the Nicholas Holt character being like pushed around by Dracula and everything. And you get like these flashbacks at the beginning for the opening where it's like the old Bela Lugosi Dracula film, and it's got Nicolas Cage in the Dracula's place and as Bela Lugosi's character Dracula, and you got Nicholas Holt there as Renfield like spliced into the movie. It actually was really fun. It makes me like want to see an entire movie of just those two as like the story of Dracula. That probably would have been pretty damn funny. Yeah, and then once that, you skip to like modern day. You got Nicholas Holt as Renfield, who's like having to go around and like collect bodies stuff for Dracula. You had a cameo by the dude who played Charlie Brewster in the original Fright Night, Williams Ragsdale, I think is his name, as like some guy working for the Catholic Church. And you get a funny joke in there where he's like, he's talking to Renfield or whatever because they managed to capture Dracula and they're going to destroy him. And he's like, Renfield, we're not going to like lock you up in a nut house or whatever after all this is over. You have the word from the most trusted organization of the planet, the Catholic Church. Which of course is a part of the comedy there. And I'll say this movie is a comedy. It is a action horror comedy. It knows what it is. It doesn't try to pretend to be anything different. The blood in it is extremely CGI, but it's done in like such an overly cartoonish way when people get killed in this, and they get killed left and right. Like a dude gets his arms ripped off, and Renfield like uses the guy's arms to like swing around and karate chop other people, and he like stabs them like through them. Really over the top, and the blood is extremely cartoony, and it's done that way on purpose. This film really feels like a comic book film. I will say there's problems in the movie. Um, it focuses on like the Renfield and Dracula relationship, which is the most interesting part of the movie, and you get the whole idea, of course, that Renfield doesn't want to kill innocent people anymore, doesn't want to bring people to Dracula anymore, and just tired of being pushed around, treated like shit. He wants to be his own man finally, and of course you get like the whole thing like where it's him and Dracula. Whenever they're on screen together, it's really fun. But whenever the movie like kind of takes off into like this side plot with the Aquafina character, once she gets introduced with this whole Los Lobos or whatever they're called gang led by Ben Schwartz, who does the voice of Sonic, which he's really good here too. He was fun here. Um, she just like starts taking up a whole lot of screen time, and Nicolas Cage gets less screen time, and he disappears for some of the movie, like in the middle part. But when he comes back in like the closer to the third act, he's in pretty much the entire movie until then, and he's in part of the beginning, so he's in the film like a decent to good amount. And when he is there, it lights up the screen and makes you feel like he's in the movie even more. But because he's such a colorful character, it makes you want even more of him. But he's in the movie enough. This is a Renfield movie, but at the same time, though, you want it to be a Renfield and Dracula movie, not a Renfield, Dracula, and Aquafina movie. You really don't. You miss Dracula in the parts of the movie he's not in. But the movie makes up for it though when, of course, he has to team up and help Aquafina like fight the gang and all that. And you get like this over the top action. Every time Renfield eats a bug, it gives him like superpowers or whatever, because it's taken from the Bram Stoker's Dracula thing where Renfield ate insects, and he's like running around or whatever, like killing the gang members, like knocking heads clean off, and like gallon of blood shoots out and everything. It's really fun. You probably see some of it in the trailer and clips online. And of course, when Dracula finds out what's going on, because he kills some of the gang members because they go to try to find Renfield, and they run to Dracula, and he takes him out and he figures out what his subordinate is doing, which you would think that he would kind of know already, but he doesn't. He finds out, and he goes off and like wipes out the entire meeting group or whatever that Renfield goes to like lift up his spirits and all that. And it's how he selects victims, because he finds the other abused people and goes out and gets the abusers and kills them and takes them to Dracula and everything. So that's pretty funny. But he wipes out like the whole group or whatever. A really cool like graphic scene. It was really funny. Like Nicolas Cage's acting this, he is kind of over the top at points, but he plays it just perfectly in the middle. This isn't like totally like Nick Cage uncaged. This is him more of like acting, I would say, instead of just being like just over the top. And just over the top Cage is kind of like Ghost Rider 2. Here he's more acting, where he is actually, this is actually a performance, and he does an awesome, great to awesome job in the movie. Like he's threatening as Dracula, as a villain. Like he could play Dracula in like a legit Dracula movie. Not that this isn't a legit Dracula movie, but obviously it's a comedy. I'm talking about if this was a horror movie, he could have done it. But yeah. Here, though, he's awesome in the role, and it's what makes you want more of him. And there's really funny scenes where he's like talking to Nicholas Holt's character, and he's like, "You're right, Renfield. This world is dangerous. We should just take it over." And he's like, "It's going to be you and me until the end of time." And it cuts to Nicholas Holt, and he's like, "Oh shit." It's pretty funny. You get to the end, and like Nicolas Cage's like taking over the entire gang, and he's made them into familiars too. And like Ben Schwartz snorts a bug, which is a centipede. It's kind of a bad CGI effect, but it's still got some charm to it. This movie is campy on purpose. It's fun. You get to the end of the climax, wherever Ben Schwartz has to fight Nicholas Holt. And I will say the action scene, the fight scene kind of goes on a little bit too long because Ben Schwartz keeps making the mistake of monologuing, and he gives Nicholas Holt the upper hand to eat a beetle or whatever. And I don't remember if he kung fu kicks him or what, but he hits him and it like goes in like this X-ray Mortal Kombat type mode, and you see like his whole body get crushed. Pretty cool effect. Then they gotta fight Dracula. They managed to capture Dracula using this holding spell or whatever that they got off like Wiccan Tumbler, which is also what the Catholic Church was using at the beginning. And then they just knock him into pieces or whatever with a bunch of weapons. But before they do that, though, Nicolas Cage looks at him and he goes, "I look forward to going to hell. It's where all the amusing people are." It's really funny. And of course, they take him out. But then you get the sequel bait ending I don't really think you needed. After they take him out or whatever, the main chick or whatever, who was like Ben Schwartz's mom, who was like running the gang before Dracula took over, she's like she's getting locked up, and you get the idea that she's probably going to try to come back for revenge. And they like cut Dracula into little pieces and drop the pieces like down into a hole in the ground or whatever. And he's like, I don't know if you can come back from this or not. So you get the idea that maybe the mom or whatever in a sequel that was to get made would probably like resurrect Dracula with blood or something and find his pieces. At the same time, no, I don't think this is going to get a sequel because sadly its bombing in theaters really bad, which is a shame because this is a good movie. This is a fun movie. It's an uneven movie at points, but it makes up for it with just the pure fun of it. And once you get on board with what the movie's doing, which really feels like a comic book movie, it becomes really fun. Overall, 3.5 out of 4. It's a really fun movie. Just for pure entertainment. It's worth seeing in theaters. If you like the idea of Nicolas Cage's Dracula and you like Nicholas Holt, you're going to have fun with this. It's worth watching. It's an entertaining movie. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.